The piece of art we will be looking at today is a woodblock print called Lion by Toshi Yoshida. Here is a quick preview of what we will be analyzing today. Lion is a woodblock print that comes from a children's book, Young Lions, that Toshi Yoshida made much later in his career. In order to fully appreciate his work of art, it is important to look at how his childhood and family influenced him. Born in 1911 to a successful family of artists, it is no surprise that Toshi would become one as well. Early on in his life, one of his legs was paralyzed. Obviously, this severely impacted his childhood. He wasn't able to go to school, play outside, or socialize as much as other kids. Due to his situation, Toshi was very limited in what he could do, and he ended up spending a lot of time with his father and his grandmother. His grandmother, Ryu Yoshida, was also a very successful artist. She strongly encouraged Toshi to do what made him happy at the time, and that was sketching animals. As a result, Toshi became very adept at sketching animals at a young age. Pictured above is an example of a realistic woodblock print that his father had made depicting animals. Toshi's father, Hiroshi Yoshida, was a prominent Shin Hanga artist in Japan. Coming from a long line of artists, he was very well respected among the community. Obviously, having such a successful father means a few things. On the bright side, if Toshi wanted to become an artist, he would have access to some of the best resources in all Japan. His father had all the tools for woodblock printing, as well as the knowledge to teach his son. But on the other hand, having such a successful family creates an extreme amount of pressure to succeed that not everyone can deal with. Thankfully for us, Toshi Yoshida was able to handle that stress and create wonderful pieces of art. I mentioned earlier that Hiroshi was a Shin Hanga artist, but what exactly does that mean? Shin Hanga was a collaborative system of woodblock printing. It had a strong focus on the community. There was a separate artist, carver, printer, and publisher who all worked together to create one woodblock print. Toshi originally started out following the footsteps of his father using the Shin Hanga technique. Here is an example of one of the earlier works done by Toshi Yoshida. Comparing to the earlier works of his father, they are very similar. There is a realistic depiction of nature, as well as a few pieces of wildlife, as you can see here with the ducks. Many of Toshi's earlier works were very similar to this print in style and in subject matter. Unfortunately, in 1950, Hiroshi Yoshida passed away, severely affecting Toshi's art style. After the death of his father, Toshi had a complete break from his Shin Hanga work and switched to a more contemporary Sosaku Hanga style. This translates to creative prints, and it differs vastly from the Shin Hanga style with regards to the fact that it promoted principles of self-drawn, self-carved, and self-printed. The resulting piece of work is rather a reflection of an individual as opposed to four individuals working together. As you can see in this picture, it looks nothing like the realistic natural prints that Toshi made prior to the death of his dad. This work is way more abstract and has many vibrant colors. This abstract work was not the only time that Toshi would change his style. Lion represents a culmination of the earlier style Toshi learned from his father, as well as a newer style he worked on after his death. Given the many different styles Toshi Yoshida has used, it is important to note that this piece was made in 1987, well after his father's death. It was made using the Sosaku Hanga technique. This piece is really interesting to me because it represents what Toshi has learned from his father, as well as his own original abstract art. Looking at the ground, it is not something you would see in real life. There are many strange shapes and patterns. The lion, on the other hand, resembles something his father would do. It is incredibly realistic and very impressive for a woodblock print. Keep in mind that in creating a woodblock print, you are physically carving the image onto a block of wood and then painting over it and pressing your image onto a piece of paper. Knowing about his childhood and death of his father, we can truly appreciate the different aspects coming together to create this unique woodblock print.